Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members. My name is Luis Soberon. I'm a Senior Policy Advisor at Texas 2036. I'm going to talk a little bit about TCOLE and TDCJ. Starting with TCOLE, I'm sure that the members of the committee are somewhat familiar with the TCOLE sunset bill that passed last session. It included significant changes to how the state regulates law enforcement agencies and licensed professionals. In addition to supporting TCOLE sunset implementation, which is already reflected in the base budget, which is going to be so important for continuing to address the problem of wandering officers that you mentioned, Rep. Gervin-Hawkins. In addition to supporting the implementation of the TCOLE sunset bill, I think next steps include investing in TCOLE's compliance, operations, innovations, ideas that are represented in their LAR in items 1, 3, and 4. And that way TCOLE can better serve the public and the regulated community, and it can support the establishment of a Texas Public Safety Research Consortium so that we continue to support the development of evidence-based law enforcement policies. Moving on to TDCJ, I just want to pause and thank the appropriators here in the House for the significant investment that's already reflected in the base budget in climate control systems in TDCJ, talking about heat mitigation. It is well tested in the research literature that extreme heat in prisons leads to increased violence, increased mortality. So funding this makes for safer environments for the thousands of public safety professionals that work in these facilities and the incarcerated Texans that live there. So thank you. And just to reinforce the point, we know that this is something that voters can get behind. The second sheet that I passed out includes some polling that we did where we asked Texans point blank, what do you think the maximum temperature should be inside prison facilities? And 82% of Texas voters came back and said it shouldn't be higher than 85 degrees. And if you're curious, it holds up in the crosstabs. I want to talk very briefly about higher education in Texas prisons. So that's something that we've been looking into at Texas 2036. The most conservative estimate that I could find is that for every taxpayer dollar spent on college-level programming in prisons, you get a $1.61 return on that investment. That's like the lowest ROI I could find. And those come from savings that you see in reduced rearrest rates, reincarceration rates. So I think I've called it in the past a win-win-win proposition. So we've got a report on the issue. I'm happy to distribute that to your offices. One thing that I'll note from an appropriation standpoint, a lot of the recommendations from the Sunset Commission about higher education in prisons is already reflected in TDCJ Rider 26. Among the things that happens in that rider is that it allows Wyndham to use those funds for additional purposes. I'll just note that it split up more slices of a pie but did not expand the size of the pie, so that rider draws down from strategy C22. And that rider that strategy rather hasn't increased in the past few sessions, I believe. So something to consider moving forward. I'll be happy to follow up and talk with your offices more about it.